What am I playing now? Can't you tell from my beautiful artwork here? Doesn't it just scream and yell Magic the Gathering of all things? In fact, there's nothing in it that makes me think of it except for probably the Wisp a little bit, even though that Wisp still doesn't look like the Wisp in the game. It looks actually better because that one's just like a shitty ball. But yeah, kind of a stupid joke on the whole color scheme here. Just the fact that I like green and dinosaurs so much. We almost have 10k, enough for a 10k draft. But today's goal is we just want to please be all fucking green, dude. Red we might do, blue we're not going to do. My only goal for every episode is like just do the daily quest, which that should be easy enough to do. But basically what it is I want to get a chance to play Ghalta for the first time, the new Ghalta. I almost wanted to make the old Ghalta that I don't have, not the one that gets a reduced cost, just so I can like play Ghalta out of my hand, so then I can play the one Ghalta that lets you summon everything from your hand, and that one of those will be another Ghalta, and then you can draw into the third Ghalta, and then fucking, you know, play that for like 2 mana or something. Just for almost the memes of it, but it would still be pretty good value. I'm sure the way that people are actually using Ghalta, though, is like for like crazy combo type stuff, not just for raw value. But it's good in so many ways that it's almost too good. Right, like there's no downside. It's just a god tier value card. You got to make a point to play red here. I like how just the daily quest determined that overall. Let's look, or maybe I even have the other one too, but I just never use it. I have so many cards in this game that I don't even know I have, or I don't even appreciate that I have. Yeah, this dude would be a gold card, and that one doesn't even look anything like him, so I don't get it. Right, this is like some other RP fanfic. Like he's so much shorter, isn't he? Maybe it's supposed to be some other dinosaur vampire. Look how short his legs are here compared to there. Like that cannot be the same creature. And they all kind of look different too. But of course the whole rule, you can only summon one thing at a time. It would have to be the exact same one, right? So these two you would be able to play together. Or these three even you would be able to play together, but I won't be able to actually do that. So yeah, let's alternate between green and red. And it shouldn't be very hard to do these because, you know, that's all it is. Just play a bunch of fucking... Why did this one move from there to there though? This one is obviously going to have Ghalta in there, and we haven't gotten a chance to play him yet, despite the fact that we've obviously done it so many times. We've played with this a number of times. Arc. Why? Yeah, that's actually a good guess because of the dinosaurs. Why play this when you can play Fortnite on 200 ping? Actually, the ping didn't really bother me. I couldn't really tell if it was bad or not. I won't blame that on my bad aim or anything either. I mean, I don't mind doing that once in a while, but like, whatever. Okay, we got the lands. You got a couple things here. We obviously are going to have Ghalta. It's almost pointless to have like more than 2 of cards like that though, because especially you can't have 2 of them at once. Like, what if I played the other Ghalta and then I... like, you had 2 of these in your hand, so it would summon both of them, but it wouldn't allow you to do that. So would it force you to do that, or it would let you choose one or the other or something to keep? Because then it would automatically destroy one because it would force you to play both, but you can only have one. That'd be like a very weird interaction to happen. Yeah, we would very early on in this expansion actually be able to do a second 10k draft. Maybe this is the beauty of it when you get the discipline to be able to actually save gold and not spend it on cosmetics and stupid stuff like that. So that's a big plus thing. Eyes of Gaia. Always makes you think of Gaia, the fierce knight from Yu-Gi-Oh! But obviously it's not even spelled the same. They copied Yu-Gi-Oh! Which actually, which one did? This did come out before Yu-Gi-Oh! Surely. Right, because we had the 30th anniversary, so it must have been like 93. Magic the Gathering release date was 1993. Yeah, there's no fucking way. I know Yu-Gi-Oh's in the 90s, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Release date, because they released like an inferior version first, and then they made it, when was Yu-Gi-Oh! First released? With 1999. It felt like it was before that, because they made some kind of bootleg shitty version of it that nobody's seen or nobody's played, and then they eventually made it into the more modern style. I would more associate it with the Greek god. Yeah, that's probably what a lot of these things are based on, actually. Got a fucking little Lord of the Rings crossover. Problem with this is there's no incentive to even try to win any of these games because all I really am trying to do is the daily quest. Or at least I want to see like certain interactions. It's amazing how long it takes me to play just a basic card that I get like that. Like even playing Sargeras in Hearthstone, like how hard is it just to fucking play it? And like even if you play it and then lose, it's not like you have to play it in an optimal way. Okay, we got Gigantosaurus and we can play Ghalta. The ultimate combo that these two cards really stood out to me when I first started playing this game. Like, no matter how you want to talk around it, 5 mana 10/10, it's like, oh haha, you know, why not just use a bit of removal on it? But you could use a removal on almost any card in the game. So the fact that it happens to be a 5 mana 10/10 versus like a 5 mana thing with some effect, you know, anything 5 and up would be just as susceptible to removal. He's going in a bit overly aggressive here. Why is it a good game? Maybe gain like, oh shit. Well, there wasn't exactly much I could have done about that. If I didn't do it, I would have just had to tank it to the face. Like, oh, I'll play around that by just not doing anything. Okay. So let's do the red. Wow, we only played 2. Wait, how is that even possible? Only 2? And those would have been creatures, too. Okay, let's try this, and maybe we can do a best of 3 with both. We'll be back, okay. Yeah, that's almost what playing Fortnite the other day made me want to do, is I should play some other multiplayer random stuff, like either GTA Online, or maybe Red Dead Online, or maybe fucking Star Wars Battlefront, or just some random thing like that, that are normally games I don't really want to play, but it wouldn't be bad to have a day for stuff like that, but it would have to basically be instead of that gauntlet format, which I have been enjoying that, so I would almost need another day, but there's just no room. Or that could be like where the PvZ slot is if I ever finish that fucking series, but I don't think I will. So yeah, we'll do best of 1, see which one goes on a longer streak, then we'll do best of 3s. We'll have 10k plus gold, which is a nice thing to have. Look at this clown fucking raising the roof with his card backs here. Almost as visually impossible to see as the Hearthstone ones, but that's not because they stack it so high. That's just because they put it at that weird sideways angle. People say this game actually has a lot of bots, but it somehow doesn't feel like they are. I don't know. You would think, especially at low ranks like this, there would have to be, but this is haste. You can trade in if you want. That one you won't even be able to do anything. Put a card into your hand. Let's see if any of these are exciting to me. I guess we could do that, even though our mana situation is probably not going to be that good. This is kind of like an aggro deck, but it's really not because it's just not good enough. And aggro in this game gets shat on so hard by so many different aspects. Not even mechanics, but just like, how can you do it when they could block you with like a 10/10, and not only did they block you with the 10/10, but that auto heals for no cost and nothing. Just did they block a total of 9 damage with stuff, and it all heals right back as long as it doesn't die. So it really rewards higher cost, higher health minions just too much. Like normally that would be a style of play, like I said in a game. Like, okay, in Hearthstone you would have to heal the minion as a priest, and that would be a big part of it. Here, not only do they auto heal, but the only healing you have to worry about is like to yourself, right? Okay, what are you taking so long for, dude? I always talk shit about what people are doing, but then they always do some crazy combo like last time. Like, oh, why is he saying good game? And then I'm obviously not even paying attention. It's sad that this game doesn't get, like, if you just look on Twitch, it's like at 1.4k viewers. I forgot what Hearthstone was at, but like, why does Hearthstone outclass this? Even though I'm a big Hearthstone fan, I still wouldn't say that it should be considered that much better. So you could do both of these, I guess. Which would be fine. so that you're actually getting at a meaningful discount because you're getting 2 mana for what really only costs you 1 mana. This, if you want to trade, you can. Doesn't really bother me. Just going for all the high cost crazy stuff, but I probably won't even be able to use it. That card's effect is pretty fun. Like, just... I guess he doesn't give a shit because he just knows he'll out-heal it no matter what I do. Beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 artifact or creature you control, then return that under its owner's control. Okay. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand, then draw 7 cards. That can obviously hurt you a lot sometimes too, but... It's always hard for me with this one to get a good amount of mana. I guess I'm spoiled by the mana generating minions of green. Like, it's not always about how many lands you have. It's just about, you know, you have like a Carotid that's giving you some. You have all those elves that give you some. You could do that. But all I want to do is just stack up flying stuff here. This will at least throw off whatever they're trying to do if they're coming up with some crazy combo in their hand, but it'll also help them in that regard too. You can trade in that all you want. Create a treasure token, get another thing here. Again, you get to appreciate how shit value some of these things are. Like it's at a reduced cost, but it's still not that good. 3 mana, 3/3. The bonus effect there is bad. You could say you're getting penalized by the fact that it's flying, but there's plenty of other flying things that don't get such a penalty. Here we go, dude. Incoming fucking million heal turn. Yeah, that's one objective improvement I feel like over this game, assuming this is how Magic actually works, which I actually have no idea. The fact that you have to, a pulse playstyle is defined by the ability to heal, not just yourself, but also your minions, whereas in this game it's just automatic. That kind of is a weird thing to do. Like, what is even the point then of health value in this game aside from in the immediate trade? Like, okay, a 5/5 attacks a 3/2 and it survives, but then it doesn't matter that it has 5 health because it'll always just go back up to full. Like, it'll never be halfway there and you have to worry about the difference. It'll always just be there. Flying and haste. Go ahead and use. Yes, you have to get all these bonuses to make this not feel as bad value as what it actually is. Some of these effects are pretty good, don't get me wrong, but that's not even really why I made them. Why is this guy even in here? I guess it's because he mentions dragons. You should still be dead. Just from the flying stuff alone, I've become the very thing I swore to destroy, as much as I hate flying and whatever. Some of these mechanics. If I make an angel flying deck, I truly will have gone to the dark side, even though it seems ironic. But just for me, I hate that shit. I guess part of why you hate it is just because it's so overdone, right? In and of itself, it's not that bad, but... So let's go on a streak with this one, and then... Between the best of 3, you should be able to do it, like the other one. The Green Daily Quest, that was a very disappointing game there. The first one. Yeah, right-click a card so you can read the flavor text in the middle of a game. There's something so funny about how people look at games like this though sometimes, because like this one is at least respectable because people take it very seriously. Not maybe this version, but like just Magic overall. They take it very seriously and it's very elitist and stuff. Partly, you know, validated because it's so complicated. People almost feel like you have to do that. But the problem is that, you know, it doesn't mean that that's the only way you have to go about it. Like you can always just measure it yourself. Like, for example, the way I could be playing these games like in a super skillful, amazing, perfect way, but it doesn't matter because I'm using, even deliberately, not just because, oh, my collection is bad or whatever, which by now it might not even be that bad, or I built it badly with the wild cards, but whatever. The point is, like, I'm just doing it the way that I want to do it. Like, whatever deck I feel like using, I'll just use, and then within that context, yes, you're trying to play the best you can and trying to you know, win, obviously, but I don't like that at the outset, right? Like, I don't like to go into a game saying, like, okay, let me go in with a rigged criteria, like, I know opening theory and chess, so therefore I'm going to win the majority of games because of that, or I'm going to use a meta deck, so therefore I'm going to win the majority of games like that. Like, that's fine, and I know that's how people think, but What's more fun is just use whatever you want and then try to win that way, and hope that other people do the same, and they're not just winning on the technicality that same way of all the you know, just like predetermined factors that have nothing to do with actual performance or anything. And the best of both worlds is like the high level creativity. Like, you're in the meta, you're one of the best players in the world playing for a world championship in whatever, chess or something, and you're like Richard Rapport, and you come up with these crazy things that are not theory, that are just out off the wall, all right, and then you win because of that, or at least you're competitive in that space. So that's the best of both worlds. That would be like my idol in chess or something, is just you know, that you're able to do both. You can be in the meta, you can be one of the best players in the world, but you can also kind of dick around and troll people and do fun and interesting stuff. But that's a very hard balance to reach, and it almost seems hard to believe that such a person would exist in a game as stoic and rigid and solvable as chess, but somehow he managed to do it. So it shows you that he obviously is able to play like everybody else in a very, you know, rigid and structured way, but he chooses to do it. Like, it's more important to him to troll people than it is to actually win. And maybe if he didn't do that, maybe he wouldn't be as good as he is somehow. That's part of his greatness, but maybe part of it is he just wouldn't, he would actually be better, and maybe he'd be the best player in the world, but you can't really change who you are like that. Yeah, I'm sure there's people like that in Magic, or we just saw that like in Yu-Gi-Oh! I saw some article on it. I'm gonna fucking mill this guy out with this. Fuck. Somebody used Exodia in like a high level tournament in this day and age, and everybody was so excited, and it's like, oh, that's so unusual, or nobody uses that these days. So just fun stuff like that always creeps through. But that would be the true test of like what I would want to do if I was combining best of both worlds with one game. Yeah, I don't mind doing the dicking around part, but I do mind doing the meta part because it can be so repetitive. Like, I'll do it from time to time, but there's no rush. Or like, I hate that implication, like you play a game for the first time and it's like, oh, all you want to do is get to the end game. Let's just rush through. Like, whether it be a game like Path of Exile, or whether it be some other, whatever, some online game, multiplayer game, people will feel like, oh, you know, you have to somehow... You have to somehow do it in such a way that you feel like, okay, are you gonna be farming people with red here? Almost gonna have to lose on purpose just to be able to do the other one. Yeah, I'm pretty objective though. Even if I lose, I'll still say yes, I had a fun time, or I'll be neutral no matter what. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Yeah, like this immediate innate desire, like you first start playing a game for the first time, everything is fresh and new to you, but because, oh, there's end game content, or oh, because it's been out for so long, there's this compulsion, like, oh, don't you just want to get to the end game? Don't you want to just boost, like, even these games have mechanics like Destiny or something, don't you just want to use that level 40 boost and just go do the raids? It's like, theoretically, yes, maybe people do want to see that, but what about the rest of the experience? On one hand, you can say, oh, it's not worth doing, but then I would say, okay, just skip the game altogether then. Or you could say, well, the best part is the end game, and the best part is the whatever, the raids and stuff, because that's the thing that they put the most time and effort into. That's always true like MMOs and stuff, but the two don't have to be like exclusive to each other, right? You can experience both. I just think that's an important element of it. It's like you can't just skip to the end of a movie and say, oh, look how cool that is. You have to be there for the whole journey. So I think getting from 1 to max level, that's a big part of the game. For some people, that's the whole game. Just the same way that skipping ahead and doing it could be that too. Right, like go to the raids and just that's the whole game. Or whatever, PvP, whatever endgame kind of stuff that you want to do. I should have done a little mini-series with Anthem once I beat it, just to see what the multiplayer experience would have been like. It would have been pretty awesome to see like people flying around and doing all this crazy crap in multiplayer or whatever. But I bet the game is even deader now than you would expect. And if I die once, it's over because it's still a permanent playthrough, but... Yeah, that is one thing that you see, whether in the experience of being a streamer and playing stuff or just in general, right? You're playing a game, but people will question, like, why are you even playing this game? People who like the game and who are a fan of the game, like, why are you playing the game, or why are you playing it that way? Like, why are you actually taking your time and actually soaking in the experience? Why don't you just rush ahead and just do the good stuff, like the end game content or whatever? Like, or why don't you rush ahead and do everything in an optimal way, as if you either need to, or as if that's really necessary to the experience, or as if you even want to, or like it's turning gaming into a zero-sum experience, which it really doesn't have to be unless you make it that way. If I want to sit there and stare at a wall for an hour, like, okay, that's what I'm choosing to do in the game. That's why gaming is such a perfect medium, because it's like you're off the toilet. You know, you can make your own experience with it, so it doesn't matter what people do as far as you know, optimally or suboptimally or whatever. You're kind of self-actualizing the experience as you go. So someone like me, I'd really take my time. I'd be really OCD about stuff. I'd be really completionist. I might read all the flavor text, or I might just breeze through and fuck around. But there's just so many different ways to approach it. So there is sort of like this weird box that people put themselves in, right? That like, oh, because they want to play it in a meta way, everybody's trying to play it in a meta way, and now it becomes just a definition of ability. Like, oh, you're just not good enough to do the meta, assuming that you're trying to, right? Like, what if it's like a real life analogy that you can make that's pretty strong? How many friends do you have? Some. Like doing jobs, for example, like, oh, haha, this person doesn't make as much money as somebody else, right? But the thing is that, you know, not everybody cares about that first and foremost. So somebody might say like, oh, I'd rather have an easier job that doesn't make quite as much money because that's just more enjoyable or more laid back, or I'd rather do something I enjoy doing. So if you look at it that way, it's like the same thing with meta. Like, I'd rather play something that I enjoy or do it in a way that I enjoy than simply care about the zero-sum outcome or result or winning or losing or optimal speed or whatever, right? Progress, things like that. So there's a real life lesson to be learned there. Like, that's the same thing. It doesn't mean that, oh, haha, somebody's making less than somebody else because they're not as smart or they can't do something. It could just be their preference, or maybe they don't care. Like, they don't need that much money, or they don't need to show off anything. That's what they're doing, is creating like a Bolshevik rhetoric thing. Like, either you're bad at doing something, or you're bad at doing it, or you're failing to do it, or you're doing it properly. There's no in between. Like, oh, your measure is different. Like, you're trying to do something different. There is no other thing. You have to do it in an exact zero-sum way. And what's ironic is most people who hold that sort of standard critically of others are not exactly the epitome of it themselves. Like, they're not exactly millionaires or whatever, right? They're not exactly, what the fuck, dude, why is this so expensive? It's only 4 and you have 3 land. What's going on? How many do you meet or text on a regular basis? Can you count them on one hand? I don't know, man. Depends how you define it too. Finally, the dragons are actually decent value here. Look at this, dude. This is what it takes to actually make them such. You have one that makes them cost 2 less, you have one that makes them cost 1 less, and it's still such a shit show. Yeah, that's like the longevity process argument that you can have that we had in our debate format a lot. Like, you know, one person's measure in life could be they're trying to live as long as possible. And, like, just so they want to be healthy and just, they define the meaning of life by length of it, right? So they just want to live to 120 or whatever like that. That's it. Then another is a hedonist. They want to define life by their experience and enjoyment, even if it comes at the expense of longevity. Just like the person who values longevity does it at the expense of enjoyment, let's say. They won't have as much sugar or this or that or negative substances and experiences that could shorten their lifespan. So a lot of people are probably in the middle ground, but they don't really give it a lot of thought. And so in the process, you feel like they don't really know what it's about. The assumption is often peddled to people that, oh, well, it's about living as long as possible. That's really the meaning of life there. A zero-sum reactionary process that's even hard to define. But then they'll engage in behaviors that indicate that that's not their measure, right, the longevity process, because if it was, then, you know, you wouldn't drink alcohol, or you wouldn't eat too much sugar, or you wouldn't do a lot of things that evidently would shorten your lifespan. So it's not a clear measure. So it creates like a half-mass paradigm where you're kind of doing both, right? You want to live as long as possible, but you also want to enjoy life in certain ways, and you also are undercutting that. So it's kind of like an undefined, unclear thing that nobody really gives a lot of thought to. So it's not saying one measure is better or worse than the other, and there's other ones too, but it's like you have to actually define it yourself. Instead, you'll be caught in this weird, uncertain stage of like, you don't even know what you want. Like, to what extent are you a hedonist? To what extent are you valuing longevity? And to what extent are you willing to sacrifice one for one or the other? Or are you going to commit to one completely? But no, if you were to assume something, it would be just the length, that people always go by that. Like, sort of unquestionably. You consider us as friends? Yeah, sure. Although a lot of people say that that's not how people should look at streamers. Like, they always say, especially with the really big ones, like, oh yeah, everybody thinks that this big streamer is their friend, but really they're just, you know, you shouldn't, I forget how they really say it. You shouldn't rely on them that way. Like, some people get too, not like in this situation, of course, with a small streamer, it's perfectly sensible. But like where there's a streamer with like 100K viewers that they're averaging like XQC or somebody, it's like they don't really give a shit about that, you know, any random viewer, not even to any fault of their own, but there's just so many that they don't really, you know, you barely stand out. You're just some random text box in a crowd of thousands of messages. 4 months, 30 days, 23 hours. Nice. 16 hours. Wait, what? 16 hours, 20 minutes. Oh, the follow thing. Okay. But yeah, there's like some sort of a living vicariously thing. Like, people care about the big streamers, every little life experience and personal lives and stuff like that. Like a reality TV show type of thing. So there is like some sort of negative psychological element to that in some cases, like where people feel too, yeah, like 5 months. But yeah, it's just about to cross over into that. Yeah, how does it define a month that way if it doesn't know what month it is? Like, it's doing it in a raw measure, but like, how do you know whether that month has 30 days or 31 days or 28 days if it was February? I wonder how it's actually measuring that. Yeah, people become parasocial, or they become like very, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of weird psychological stuff on it. Why is this guy so hard to summon? You don't need to convoke, dude. It's just confusing the shit out of me. How should he be able to deal with all this, dude? I have 20 health. He shouldn't be able to do jack shit to me. You mathematically don't have enough stuff to block. Like, you block a 4, you block a 4, I hit you for 3, 4, 5, I guess. You can't even block the flying, so you're just dead, dude. Look how long this guy's making it go on for, which is fine. I should have completed the red and the land quest. So we just have to complete the green one now. I hate playing these like in a rush, but I don't, wait, how did he survive? But there's not really anything in particular I'm trying to do with it either. Just like we're building up our collection slowly. We kind of want to do it on a regular basis. This has been a pretty long-winded series. Like, it's been over a year, right? The end of 2022 I started, and so there's really no solid format to it other than just playing Magic, period. And I wouldn't mind even transferring over to like another version of Magic that resembles real life Magic more, like having more cards, or this still seems like the best digital version of it, or at least maybe the most popular one, but there probably are other ones out there. You can kind of do it manually on like some third-party thing. We just use like the picture of the cards. Like, that was the way that people were telling me you could play Warcraft TCG and stuff. See, for all your clown behavior, you can't win. My deck has no anything to it. It's just a bunch of random dragons. See this guy actually getting salty. Fortnite, how to get 14 free gifts. I'm getting a notification there on my phone from some stupid news thing just because I probably played or looked up something to do with Fortnite. I'm getting like actually like where Google is nefariously spying on what I'm doing to try to give me relevant ads for my interests. This is what happens. Or it's like that always happens like on YouTube or whatever, like all these sites. You'll look up like one thing, right? And then for the next month, you'll see like ads only to do with that. There's like some sort of meme template format you could do with that. It's like, I looked up on Google one time, my tooth hurts, and then like all my next ads, like toothpaste, dentist recommends this, that, or whatever. Like, you'll see like a million things to do with it. And like the whole function of that is even pointless because what it ends up doing is, it's like you probably looked it up because you wanted it then. Like, okay, fine, I bought something, right? Okay, I looked up whatever, like a pop filter, right? So I looked up the pop filter, I bought it, and now I'm using it, so I'm satisfied. But now for the next month, it's going to show me other ads to do with that. It's like, if you like the pop filter, you'll like this one, but I've already fucking got it. So like, you didn't even need to advertise. I already got what I wanted, and it's sort of a moot point, but like, it's not like an everyday occurrence. I'm trying to think of a better example of that too. It's like I look up Nintendo Switch and then I go and buy a Nintendo Switch. So like there you go, problem solved. But now it'll keep showing me here's a Nintendo Switch for sale. What toothpaste? What do you mean what tooth? Like any brand of toothpaste or something? It's just an example. Like for some things I can understand, like food or whatever. Go to Burger King or something. If I look up directions for nearest restaurant or something, that I can understand. But some of these ads don't even make sense because, look at that. The game's even stole the modern Doomer skull dead emoji. Haha, so funny. Use a special toothpaste? What is it? Because you like it? This always seems like a graphical glitch. Like, why is it cutting off the text and stuff there? It's like a 5,000 fluorine kind. Okay. What, did it actually crash? As long as it gives me credit for my daily quest. That guy beat me so hard he literally destroyed my game client over here. There was a better way to express that meme template, I feel like. I forget exactly. But basically just like it's how they do it with the top part and the bottom part. So the top part of the image would say basically, looked up this thing once. And then the bottom part would show like 20 different images of like suggested ads or whatever on the side of a browser or something. And they would all be to do with the same thing. So especially if it's like something that like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you get like a medicine, like, oh, I have a headache. So I look up, let me order Tylenol or something, right? Best headache medicine. So then I got it and then I use it and then it's done. But then they don't get the point that like a normal person wouldn't need it like on every day. So it wants me to actually become a drug addict and overdose on Tylenol just because I had a headache this one time. It's spamming me with this shit. It's good though. Diffom is better. I don't know what that is. So let's see. We lag switched our way out of that defeat, I guess. The other two should surely be done, or the land one still isn't done. How is that possible? That game went on for like a fucking century. But this should surely be enough to do all the green stuff. But then I should almost do a best of 3 with red too, just to see how it does. The red clearly was the victor in that best of 1 thing, because the green just got clapped in one shot. Difflam is numbing stuff. Oh. Change the art used to represent your deck. Yeah, I do like that function actually. Most games don't really have that. Like where you have a cover art for your deck or like a box art. You don't get to see that during the course of a game. Pokemon was interesting like that, where it would actually show you your deck box, like on the side too. You show the only cards from the Lost Cavern of the Ixalan and the deck builder type LCI. That's always confusing, the little letter code that each thing has. And I never know what the background or the art is that represents it on the card itself. Not that it really matters to me too much. Oh, look at this platinum tryhard emerald player. Platinum is always clowned on, just like it's a bootleg silver type of thing. But you can barely tell the difference. It's just silver with a little attitude, I guess. Like even in Hearthstone, I completely forgot that that even existed. That card seems kind of overrated a little bit. Like I don't see what the... You make a land into a 4/4, but so what? Like... It's not that good. Not that I haven't beaten opponents like this a number of times, but generally you won't be able to. Or the way that I win is always so similar. Just like you flood the board with good mid-range value stuff, but you still have to win in sort of an aggro pace because probably just the stage of the game that this is really at. You might think, oh, that's a simple-minded way to play or something, but it's just sort of Kaiba Jr., the Kaiba Jr. mentality in me is so fun of it. Ward for 2. At the beginning of pre-combat, you get 2. I'd rather just you be hexproof than ward, but... I wonder which game is going to come out first, Elder Scrolls 6 or fucking... at least we got to play a Ghalta in some form. Elder Scrolls 6 or GTA 6? Probably GTA 6 because they've kind of released more info about it and stuff. This is all part of his master plan. I guess he'll somehow... What the fuck, dude? Look at that emo. He's gonna clown me in the next 2 games, though, I bet. He didn't even do anything, though. She. So this is like a merfolk. It's like Murlocs meet Nagas. So the Warcraft universe split them up into 2, I guess. If you were to look at that as inspiration. Want to do that GTA stream sometime you joked about a while back. I mean, I'll probably play GTA Online at some point before GTA 6 comes out. I don't know when, but there'll be so much shit to go through. Like, I could literally do that, like, every day and never get through all the content that they've released for it. Because they have all, like, story shit to it. Like, I wouldn't want to play it that much, but it's impossible to keep up with stuff like that. Even if you were to play it all the time, you would never... Oh, shit. Well, I don't really want to do that, but I don't have much of a choice. It's like I did too good in that game, so now I'm gonna get fucked on the mulligan. Oh, come on, bro. See, that makes it seem like an aggro deck, but that's mid-range, by the way, because dragons are the best of both worlds. You get a good amount of value, but you also get... Are they actually gonna play something this game? Because that would make it really hard to win if they actually play the game. Or they probably sideboarded like a tryhard. I should try to do 100% permadeath clear of GTA 5 like I did with GTA 4. It was so lame though because I kept abusing the... Oh shit, a little bit of dinosaur action right back at me. The joke's on you though, I'm only trying to do my daily quest, dude. There's no way I shouldn't be able to win like There's no way I shouldn't be able to win a game in the context of, you know, 1 out of 2 here, but that one went almost too well, so it kind of misrepresents the whole thing. They seemed so dejected though, like they didn't even want to do anything. They knew they stood no chance or something. So they're giving that up, which is pretty worth it. I would just taint the 4 damage to the face. It depends so much on just what I draw now, but I do have a decent amount of land. Fuck you. What are the chances that they're using the same shit as me? When it enters the battlefield, search for library, graveyard for non-human creature with X or less and put it in your hand. If you search for library this way, shuffle. Probably not worth it to do that. Oh, here we go, dude. We're gonna get clowned the same way. Somehow like a bootleg mirror matchup, but they're gonna have better long-term value, I bet. You see, this is what I mean. I've already lost. I lost in the fucking mulligan because you just had to do it too many times. And maybe that happened to them last time too. Not so much that they had to mulligan a lot, but just, oh shit. Just the fact that I started off with a good hand. It's just, Ward is kind of a shitty mechanic because it just makes you wish it was hexproof instead. Like, why even bother? Doesn't mean it's over, but we'd have to get some pretty good value here. Maybe their deck isn't really all that special. Enters the battlefield, gains haste until the end of turn, destroy artifact or enchantment. Okay. I don't always destroy artifacts or enchantments, but when I do, it's always with a minion effect. The same way that, like, I don't always use removal, but when I do, the removal depends on having something on the board, so it's basically not even hard removal, where you're just, like, doing a fireball, polymorph type of thing anyway. You should come to Australia sometime. It's a great place. I mean, I guess I could. That's not even a fucking... That's not even a mythic, but it still gets that crazy effect. It's not that I can't still win, it's just that it's weird because I don't know what to do. Or I could have done this and then paid the ward cost, which in fact I should still be able to do. Right, you can pay it. Yeah, you can still do it. Wait, what? Wait. Oh, I don't know what I did. You should come. Guess what? It's time to learn. Gishoth, Sun's Avatar. Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Okay, fine. We get one more chance, but that's so stupid because both of those games were so one-sided. And they're going to sideboard again. Digital only cards have a small arena logo in space for the holofoil. It's just so interesting how they chose to do that. There's apparently like 75,000 cards in the game in real life overall, but they chose to get rid of like 60,000 of those, let's say. But instead they put in their own for this version of the game. Like, why would they do that? Why not just put more from the regular game and just keep up with the state of the regular game, like with whatever new is coming out? We didn't have the mulligan, so that means we're gonna win depending on what we actually get in what order here, but we have to rely so much on the minions for it, which is okay as long as they don't have a lot of removal for it. Or they figured out my strategy that they actually have to play stuff on the board. Wow. What a crazy idea. What do we remember about Australia? Like what? The colors of the flag and stuff? That's what's so stupid about stuff like that, though. Like, you could pick any random country on the map in the world and be like, you know, no, not everybody's going to know every little thing like that. It's not something you're using in day-to-day knowledge. Like, what is Botswana's colors of their flag? What is Ghana's colors of their flag? Like, I don't know that offhand. I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't expect you to. Although I guess Australia is pretty, I don't know, probably something I should know. Enters the battlefield, it explores. I guess I could be fine though, just to do anyway. Trigger that, so now you just have to make sure you get some damage actually out here. Like, we can already do this and just try to roll him over. He doesn't seem to have a ton of removal, not to jinx it here. He's mostly played on the board himself for what little they've done. You go ahead, you attack with this. This is it, dude. We're going to beat an Emerald player in a best of 3. Not that it really matters, but the land quest is certainly done. The green quest might still not be done, though. It should be kind of annoying. So I lost that second one on purpose, clearly. I've already... What? You've already Cyan. If you're going to know an Australian, you're going to have to know basic Australia. Okay, we got this sexy guy, too. The hexproof is even just a bonus in that. Look at that shit, dude. When we win, we roll him over, dude. Look at that. Actually clowning an Emerald player. Fuck. But then somehow in the best of 1, you get clowned more than that. Like, I still didn't get to play the proper Ghalta. What the fuck? That probably still won't be enough. That's so stupid. I guess since we won it, we get to play another one, so we've earned our thing. How you play a best of 3 and you only play 17 cards? Or 15, I guess. 5 cards per game. That's how this deck works, I guess. What do we know? I don't know. What do you mean? The same stuff that we've said like 50 times. I know everything. It's just a question of what I can remember. Me in chess, basically. Creatures can attack your opponent with the Planeswalkers. Quintorius Cand, or Quint, is a Planeswalker from the world of Arcavios and has been ranging throughout places in Australia. What are the... I don't fucking remember, dude. Okay, this guy's only gold, but that doesn't really matter. God damn it, man. Why does it always have to be like this with the lands? Okay, that's good enough for me. Get rid of this clown. Obviously, we're not going to touch Gigantosaurus over here. Just have to get off to a quick start and ramp it up. Which is why the Carrots is like one of my favorite cards in card game history, and it's been in like every single green deck I've ever used my entire time playing this game because it just perfectly rewards it. It'll give you 1 mana anyway, which is good, but then it doubles it just for summoning something bigger. What the fuck? Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, opponent discards a card, then each opponent who didn't discard a card this way loses 3 life. But you don't really have a choice. I guess if you just don't have a... If you don't have anything in your hand. I'm like Raphael from Yu-Gi-Oh! With my dinosaurs, like... Don't you dare take one away the way that he values his guardian so much. Raphael, role player. This costs 2 to cast if opponents you target you control. If it targets a dinosaur you control, put a +1/+1. Then that creature attacks a creature. Doesn't matter though, because it won't kill it here anyway. Let's just do it because I don't know. We have nothing going on anyway. Search your graveyard, search your library. What are we even doing? I don't even know. I'll just put something on the battlefield, which is pretty much worth it. Give me a little extra mana. Or like I wouldn't know a state from like a city or something, like Melbourne and Sydney, but those aren't territories, those are just cities, right? Pretty much the only place I really knew super well was Sydney, because you always see it in like movies and shows and stuff and whatever. Just like that one building that's like an iconic thing on the water. I forget the name of it even. The Sydney building. Flame Scroll, Celebrant. I mean, look, dude, even if we lose, we still win. Western Australia, so, well, those are easy because they're just fucking different regional distinctions. North, West, South, East Australia, wow. Like, what a perfect thing. That you could guess, like, just blind, even if you didn't know anything about anything. That might not even been worth it. Guy is wreaking havoc on the battlefield, but I can't let him die here. Again, one of the rare instances where the health is actually relevant because you actually attacked in manually. South Australia, Northern Territory, Queensland, New South Wales, Australian Capital Territory, Victoria, and Tasmania. But isn't Victoria also a city too? Victoria is a city in the territory of Victoria. No, North, yeah, but whatever. It would have been a good guess, I'm just saying. This guy's still pretty good. What if I don't want to sacrifice a creature though, man? Fuck off. This guy's deck is annoying. Maybe I'll even cuck red. It won the best of one, so then the loser gets the reward of getting to play out. It's basically just some finagle way to get the daily quest done, but I'm not gonna have any mana at all ever, so. What does that even do when it dies? I don't even know. When its last counter is removed, exile it, and you may play something. Okay. Cool. And then you get to play Ghalta. What a crazy like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Why did I get to play that one of all things? How do you even see what's been exiled? It's like the remove from the game stuff from Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know what happened, but what are you gonna make me do? Discard a card? Fine. You're so annoying, dude. How are you gonna withstand this next move, though? You get 2, you play this dude too. Like, I'm not holding any of this shit back. Just go all in. I don't care what you do. You're almost just dead already. Or maybe not. Assign damage as though it wasn't blocked. Assign damage as though it wasn't blocked. Oh, shit. But even though you did block it, I forgot about that too. Like, we win these games and I don't even know how I'm winning sometimes. Not because I've even net decked these things. It's just a random assemblage of cards. I've never really used one of those territories or battlegrounds or whatever that I destroyed. So, like, I've probably played one, but I don't think I've ever even really destroyed one. Now, remember those abbreviations like ACT? I'll use them a lot. Makes me think of a fucking test. What are we doing, the SAT or the ACT today? Sydney Opera House or Sydney Harbor Bridge. Yeah, it must be the Opera House. I don't know where I've seen it so many times, but it's like one of those stock shots that everything uses. We're going to Australia. Insert shot of the Sydney Opera House. Like how if you see we're going to New York City, so we'll show, you know, the whatever Empire State Building or something. It's just one of those things that lets you know, even if you're not from there, you don't know anything about it, that that's where you're at. Like, I love that. Wait, what is he doing? I love that in sitcoms, like, they'll use the same shot over and fucking over to show, like, oh, the, you know, Monk's Diner in oh, are you serious, bro? Monk's Diner in the thing in Seinfeld or something like that. Because it could just be a set, obviously, that they're using. Although in that case, I almost feel like it wasn't somehow. But that seems really hard to imagine, that in such a busy place, people would come and troll you and stuff like that. But yeah, like they just keep using the same things over and over from the outside. It will be a test, but not for me. Don't forget to check your mail in the upper right corner of the main menu. So, I mean, technically we did win both of these best of 3, so we should almost be entitled to do another one here. But just by simply doing the daily quest every time, like once a week, doing 3 daily quests, that should be enough to get me to level 35 to get that sexy red raptor thing. Not that I even really want it that bad, like how we wanted the Tim Burton thing. But that arguably should be enough, but maybe not. Doesn't feel like it is the way that we're doing now. That's good enough to just sort of ramp into all this. Again, it doesn't even matter whether I win or not. Although I hate to think like that. It's just like, whatever. We're doing the daily class. We're just winning almost by accident, farming much higher ranked players. Gonna be a clown with the heal deck. Imagine using healing as a mechanic, period, in a game that already has auto heal on minions. Like, it's such a clown thing. What are all these things even in the background meant to be? You could say they're the different lands, but they're like different archetypes, I guess. Because it's too many to obviously be just the 5 things. I never even knew that that symbol was what that meant when I first started playing this. Like over a year ago, it's like, what's your favorite color? Like, haha, it's orange. When people are asking me like what your favorite color is in the fucking game, they're not asking you in real life. Like a beginner's trap or a beginner's joke moment. Or like, you know, just... Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Put the card back in your graveyard. Major cities, states, territories are Perth, Adelaide, Darwin, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. Those two kind of trigger me a little bit with how you pronounce them. And Canberra. Brisbane is Brisbane, and Melbourne is Melbourne. Like, I'm not even going by like some sort of Americanized pronunciation. It's literally how it's written. If you were to read it properly phonetically, right? Brisbane is written Brisbane, and Melbourne is written like the Bourne identity. Yeah, I always knew Canberra from somewhere, like I had heard of it, but I don't know still what it is exactly. Is it like the capital or something of all of Australia? I don't know why it feels like it's such a significant place. Holy shit, dude, this guy's gonna take all day doing this. Why does it look like it's smudged there? That's not like on my screen. I hear you like the elf tribe, so I play an elf tribe so I can tap it for mana to play another elf tribe. Wow, we're just not getting to fucking play the proper Ghalta though, even when I'm winning these games. The one that lets you just summon everything from your hand. That's the ultimate fucking dream come true for this kind of deck, which is way too powerful of an effect. With no real downside, he doesn't even cost that much. So whatever, we let red just rest in success here. Pronounce it as can. No, not the women's clothing item. So it's bra. And yes, Canberra is the capital. That's so weird, yeah. Capitals are always like a bait that way. What's the capital of New York State? What's the like you would never guess it because it's not like what's the capital of Florida? Is it Miami? Is it, well, you know, one of the major areas that you would think of? Orlando or Miami are the first two you would think of, but it's not. It's just always some weird place that nobody gives a shit about and nobody's ever heard of. Even people who live in the state or in the country. There's no E. Well, I see an E right there, dude. A silent E. Hurry up, bro. You're gonna lose. I can't lose to any of these clowns. I'll get to literal fucking mythic rank just with this shit. Just by trying to farm out daily quests in the course of a month. I love how he said that. There's no E in this word that I just typed that contains an E. Like, I get what he means. Like, you're not supposed to say it, but still. Okay, just clown him with these two. I mean, if they had simple removal cards, I'll look at him using the Tim Burton card back, too. It's spelled with an E, but don't say it. That sounds so stupid, though. Some of these pronunciations do actually trigger me. Not that there aren't a lot of American places like that, too, but this is one way that you can play around Indestructible a bit is just with Trample. You don't even have to worry about it. I stopped using this guy for a super long time. I don't know why. He's not even bad. 7 mana for a 7/7. +1/+1 for each land you control. Like, it's always good. It's arguably better than Gigantosaurus, but he's also more expensive, so I guess I can't say that. Just too much value, dude. Like, you're never gonna be able to deal with this unless you have just a bunch of hard removal. Look at that, dude. Yeah, the trample is really what would win you the game here, is just no matter how much indestructible kind of clown cheese stuff that you have, you can keep blocking the 10/10 with the 4/4 though, with no problem. But then again, you would still die. I don't know why I'm clowning people so especially hard today though. Not to jinx it. Now in before a full 180 flip and he wins. Mate, they can trigger you all they want, but as an Australian, that's how you say them. But yeah, Australians are compared to Canadians a lot. Like, what do you feel about that? It's like they're sort of bootleg English users who don't use it exactly the same way as everybody else. I guess Americans could be seen that same way too, but I guess America's too diverse to even be generalized that way. But like they're like offshoots of Britain that are like little adjusted uses of language from English. Bootleg Britons, both Canada and Australia. Which in some ways is literally true, because that's obviously what they were, is like, well, although obviously a lot of territories in the world. America was like that obviously at one point. Little territories of everyone in the world things. I I can't even read some of this because it's for some reason I have like a profanity filter on, so I don't know what he just said. He could just be saying star, 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 and making me think. I think simply used to troll me and do that. He wasn't actually saying profanity. He would just say the stars to make me think it's profanity. Because that's what it filters to anyway. But I don't know why that's on. Maybe because I'm not logged in. Or maybe because it should be filtered because he's a mod and he should be banned for using profanity in the chat. Turn the shitty profanity filter up. Imagine if the word profanity itself was considered profanity. Okay, I don't even care about winning or losing this one. But in principle, just because he's using fucking white healing clown stuff, I do want to get rid of it. But yeah, you could end up getting in trouble for just talking about the colors of the cards in this game because, like, I really hate white. White is just my least favorite color of all. Wow, it sucks so bad. But really, I'm just talking about the color of the card in the game because I don't like their style of play. Or like how it wouldn't let me put white in as a tag. So I'm putting in like black, red, green, blue, right, as my tags. Like I'm playing as all these different colors in decks. The real reason why it wouldn't let me use it is because it knows I'm lying, that I would never use white. But it wouldn't let me put that in for some presumable real life thing. Dumb is what you said? That couldn't be though, because it's showing us like more characters than that. Guess the profanity based on the number of characters in it. But they could easily change it. In fact, I think I even came up with a whole bunch of other ideas for it. Like, white could instead be like light. Black could instead be like darkness, I guess. Dark. So it's not exactly color based. And the other three are kind of easier. Like, green could be like nature. Blue could be like water, obviously. I guess green could be forest or nature. Like, it's the way that the lands kind of work that way too. And then blue could be, or no, I already did blue. What's missing? Red could be like fire. Like you could easily just do it that way. You said that the first time, what? Okay, maybe he'll win this one and drag it out even longer, but I don't care, dude. Just hurry up. He doesn't really seem to have much of a synergy thing going on. But yeah, like they had to ban a lot of magic cards. Everyone thinks that all of America is dumb. But I mean, people in America come from all around the world, more so than any other country in the world. So what is that really saying? It's a very broad thing, right? Like, that doesn't really offend anybody in particular because they're not all the same by any sort of measurable standard or whatever. Everyone thinks you are as anyone. But I mean, who are we comparing it to? Because I'm actually probably going to lose because this clown is just doing too much to me. And of course, I don't have any removal in existence here. He could just attack with everything now and I'd be in a little bit of trouble. Maybe. They can only block 2. Creatures you control. Okay, dude. I was even making fun. Oh, he doesn't seem to have much of a synergy or anything going on. Okay, let's see what the final boss battle will be here, if I can win this. All these kind of crazy loop combos, though. Right, like, wouldn't that have just gone on basically forever? We need, like, a block meter mechanic or something to save us, like it does in fucking PvZ Heroes. Much as I hate that. Ask them what the stupid country is, they'll say America. Yeah, but that in itself is a stupid claim because it's so... There could be a really stupid country that doesn't even have like a very high population and isn't super well known or anything. Now here you can kind of ramp even with the one land. You go from this to this to this to this. It's just like certain stereotypes and generalizations. Like, I'm not saying it's the smartest country or anything like that, but it's like sort of jack of all trades, master of none, where throughout its history, it's been actually at the cutting edge of a lot of things technologically and so forth, but maybe not so much anymore. The stereotype, yeah, but it has to kind of make a bit more sense. Like you, and some stereotypes are so positive that it's funny that people would even be offended by them. Like, you know, oh, Indians are doctors a lot of the time, which is true. There are a lot of Indian doctors, but like, why is that a bad thing? That's a good, very high-paying job, very respectable, helping people, saving people's lives. But like, that's not a negative stereotype. Or like even saying, oh, certain people are basketball players or athletes, right? Like you're stereotyping them. But if you were, it's not to say like, oh, they're dumb and all they could do is become an athlete. But like, if you were a basketball player, like an NBA player, you'd make millions of dollars. So that's better than what most people do, right, in their life. So it's a good thing. Like, oh, I bet you're some basketball player. Like, I wish I was, because fucking I'd be rich. Like, what do you mean? That was the dumbest rebuke I've ever seen, but I'm just kind of pissed. Want to get this one over with. Not in your country, mate. Education doesn't involve flying lead. Australian education is #1. I kind of doubt that. Healthcare costs you... I feel like it's somewhere like Switzerland or something is the best. Healthcare costs you like... Well, the whole healthcare thing is a little bit stupid too. It's sort of a self-defeating argument a little bit, like... First of all, that's not even really true, right? A lot of it is covered anyway, but... Yeah, I don't know. It's like a quality versus quantity sort of healthcare argument where on average the quality might be better, but it might cost more. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, so we actually win all of those best of threes, which is kind of shocking. And we didn't give red much of a chance to shine. True land of freedom. No, it's not. We have a shit ton of Asians coming to us for education. Oh, we get one of the orbs too. Level 15. I wonder if I could get level 35. I guess it's a little deceptive because it might not seem like that big of a deal. But the reason why it is because of the simple fact that you're able to... It's still pretty early on in the expansion because it's like, you know, it's going to go on for a couple months. It's not like just a month-long thing that you have to do that. But like the levels are all the same amount of experience that you need to get through them, right? Just getting from 15 to 16 isn't that much harder than getting from 1 to 2, I don't think. Because you seem like you always need 1,000, or at least it caps out at 1,000. So if you do like 2 daily quests every time, that's a level in and of itself. See, that Ghalta looks even different than the one that I have. But it's the same effect. You can even tell just by the cutoff text. We do have enough for another 10k draft. But once again, we get cucked on playing Ghalta, but at least we played as... Like, look how much we played that green deck that has the Ghalta in there. Maybe I have... No, I don't think I played it even once. Somehow we just keep missing the chance. Stop making excuses. We both know it's stupidly high. What is? Well, I think people are just sort of... There's a lot of stereotypes that I love. Like, America must be a pretty amazing place that people around the world have such strong opinions about it. Like, okay, like the whole... I don't know. There's a lot of stupid things. Like, I'm sure everywhere else in the world is perfect and just only America has problems. And I'm glad we get to hear about them. And that people who live... Like, I don't know what Australian stereotypes are. As far as, like maybe some historical ones, but like in its current, I'm sure you have current problems there in one way or another, but you don't hear about them the way that you would about America's problems. So like any little thing gets taken to the extreme. So like, yes, there are some instances where people have lost their life savings in healthcare, but that's not necessarily the case. There's been plenty of free healthcare plans. Even free healthcare is objectively sometimes a bad thing, because it's not free and everybody's still paying into it, and it's been objectively proven to hurt the quality of it. So there's a middle ground where yes, it should be maybe more affordable, but on the flip side, it's like you can kind of pay for what you want. So right, you can pay more and get better quality healthcare or not. So it just depends. Whereas in other places you might not have that option. You'll get the same healthcare no matter what. but then at least it's free. So like it's a trade-off. Lost Caverns limited, so we could totally do a 10k one, but if I do it, it'll have to be the like played 3 until 3 regardless of record, kind of. Do you have Instagram? No, I don't. We don't have any because we're smart. Don't have any what? Oh, any problems? I'll send you all of the shit that I see America get. Yeah, I'm sure, like Twitter and stuff. There is something funny about that. Like everybody gets mad about something, but it's like, or like even a historical basis, like, oh, look at all these horrible things that America's done in its history, like slavery and stuff like that, right? So it's not even to defend stuff like that, but you could go back hundreds of years, and it feels like kind of a defeatist argument, but like you can go back hundreds of years in any country's history, and there's going to be some sort of atrocities that they've committed. So that doesn't make them good. It just means like that's just the nature of it. So like what would you want them to do? People do get like all social justice warriors like, oh, it's so horrible and you should feel bad, but it's like not only did you not do it, but everybody past can be traced like that, I guess, with the exception of countries that have only been around for a little bit of time. But then even the country that was there before would have done something. So it's like, I don't see what the point is that they're trying to make. Like, okay, bad things have happened in the past, but you're not doing them anymore, and you're not trying to do them. So, like, what do you want them to do? Just feel bad about it? Like, yeah, Instagram, I think I'll pass. Right around the time I'll get TikTok will be when I do that. Keep going, defend America. But see, that's not even defending. I'm even saying how bad things like that are. But what good does it do to do that? Like, okay, go, yeah, and pick any location on the map at random. It's a utopian place that's always been perfect, that never had any conflict or strife or atrocity. And so therefore, go live there then and feel good about yourself. Or just realize that that's how the world works. History is written in blood and in conquest and all these kind of things. That's one of my RP quotes from some short story I wrote. I choose Point Nemo then. Australia is just better. I'm sure in some ways it is better, but and I never look at things in terms of country either. Like, you just happen to live in a place. It doesn't mean you have to take pride in it. Like, who cares? I think most people in the world are stupid, so it doesn't matter where they come from. It's more of a person problem than a country problem or whatever. Name one way it's better. I mean, I'm sure in certain like technological areas it must be better. Like, has Australia been to the moon? As Australia doesn't have as powerful of a military. It doesn't have certain technological achievements that we've had. And the flip side, you could say, well, the population isn't as big, but that's both a positive and a negative. But like India was just celebrating like, oh wow, we landed on the moon. We got somebody to go on the moon. It's like, dude, you're way behind the times for a country that has 1 billion people. Not to talk too much shit, but it's like, you know, that is a little bit dated. Or there's so many people who genuinely believe that the moon landings were fake. My whole thing with that is always a cui bono argument, like who benefits from it being fake? Like, oh, so they got a little bit of money for NASA by faking it, but that's about it. Like, so what? Like, it would have been different if, okay, we went to the moon and we discovered some rare precious resource that's worth more than anything on Earth, and everybody's paying money ahead of time to get it or something, right? If it was some life-changing discovery, but you went to the moon and there was nothing there, it was just empty. So like, who would have benefited from that if it was faked, right? It would be something more sensationalized and spectacular. So that's why you're inclined to believe it. Or like, it's the same way that people believe the Earth is flat. It's like, well, you haven't seen proof that it isn't yourself, the same way that you haven't been to the moon yourself, so how would you know? And even if you did go to the moon, you could see it in some sort of simulation. You wouldn't know that it really is a different place. Right? Like, it'd be very hard to determine that on an individual level. They could have just drugged you and made you think it's somewhere else, or it could be like some sort of a trick. So it's just more like, how much does it really affect you, and how much does it matter, and who really benefits from it if it wasn't true? Earth is flat. More spending on these things. America, yeah, but see, that's a bad argument. America has a bigger population, but that's where a lot of the negatives come from too. Like, oh, it has maybe more crime or something, but that's also because it has a bigger population. So you can't use that. Agree, your points are valid. No, that's stupid though. Like India and China both have bigger populations than America, but they don't have a better military. So that's not true at all. And spending on those things, but you could choose to spend on those things too, but you just don't have the money. Actually, you do what? Okay. See you tomorrow. Science and space say so. But they haven't been to the moon, have they? Let me actually look that up. I'm curious. What countries have been to the moon? Not even like sent something there. Have been to the moon. Not just been to space. Missions to the moon have been conducted by the following nations and organizations in chronological order: the Soviet Union, the United States, Japan, European Space Agency. You got to give a country credit there, though. They just want to do it collectively. China, India, Luxembourg, Israel, Italy, South Korea, United Arab Emirates, and Russia. But now that includes stuff that haven't like walked on the moon. The United States is the only country to have successfully conducted crewed missions to the moon. With the last departing, yeah, see, that's what makes people suspicious, though. They haven't done it since 1972, but they were able to do it then. Shouldn't it be a lot easier now? Numerous uncrewed landings, no soft landings happening between August 22nd, 1976. Yeah, I don't see Australia anywhere on there. That is really weird, yeah. It's a great conspiracy fuel for the fire. Like, how were they able to succeed then, but they haven't done it since then? Nobody's walked on the moon since then from any country in the whole fucking world. I guess they feel like it's not really worth it since somebody's already done it, but that just shows you the original mission was an act of hubris and ostentatious. They were doing it just for the fuck of it, just so they could say they could walk around. It didn't really serve any purpose, and there was no point of it, right? So nobody's ever felt the need to do it since then. You've not been to the moon, there's no point to go there. However, that's the Artemis missions are doing right now. They're sending more people to the moon now. There's no point to go to the moon. Okay.